Voice of the People TV. I am Vivian Oguche. Before we begin the news, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Here are the headlines. Senate to institutionalize June 12 presidential address. And Tinubu returns to Abuja after Eid break. Zulum donates 300 million naira to Mokwa flood victims. And prosecution defense lawyers stall adoption of written addresses. Court rejects a former Jamb Registrar'S no case submission. And IYC urges Tinubu to end Rivers emergency rule. On the foreign scene, school children swept away as heavy floods and snow hit South Africa. In business news, the federal government to forfeit $10 million a World Bank loan. In sports news, coach Zubero to invite new players for Under-20 World Cup. And in the world of entertainment, Ira star Kendrick Lamar, others win big at 2025 BET Awards. Now the news in detail. Now the Senate says it is considering a legislative move to institutionalize a presidential address every June 12 in recognition of the day's historical significance. The leader of the Senate, Opeyemi Bamidele, disclosed this in an interview with newsmen, stating that the Senate is hoping to prepare a bill to formalize the president's speech to the nation on that date. It further revealed that the proposed legislation would also seek to designate the National Assembly complex as the venue for future presidential swearing-in ceremonies. The Senate leader also announced that the Senate is considering an extension of the implementation period for the 2024 budget, particularly its capital expenditure component. On the constitutional reform, the Ekiti Central Senator, who also serves as the vice chairman of the Constitution Review Committee, acknowledged that progress has been slow, but assured Nigerians that the process is ongoing. Well, moving on, President Bola Tinubu has returned to Abuja following a 13-day visit to Lagos. During his stay, he participated in the Golden Jubilee anniversary of the Economic Community of West African States and celebrated this year's Eid al-Kabir festival. Upon arrival, the president was welcomed by a delegation of senior government officials, including the secretary to the government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, and the chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila. Immediately after landing, President Tinubu departed the airport for the International Conference Center, where he proceeded to inaugurate the newly rehabilitated facility, a project overseen by the Ministry of the Federal Capital Territory. Meanwhile, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has renamed the Abuja International Conference Center after President Bola Tinubu. While speaking at the commissioning of the center by Tinubu in Abuja, Wike said Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center is a world-class structure requiring constant maintenance. He noted, with the permission of the president, that anybody that would use the newly renovated ICC must be made to pay irrespective of his or her status. In another development, Governor Babangana Zulum of Borno has donated 300 million naira to the victims of the recent Mokwa flood disaster. The governor announced the donation when he led a delegation from Borno on a sympathy visit to Minna, the Niger state capital. Governor Zulum stated that the donation was to complement the efforts of the Niger government in addressing the challenges of the disaster. The governor commiserated with the government and people of Niger over the devastating effects of the flood that claimed many lives, destroyed property and livelihoods. In his remark, Governor Umar Bago of Niger appreciated his Borno counterpart for the visit and the donation, saying that it was timely and a show of love. Well, staying with Niger State, government has awarded a 7 billion naira road construction project linking Mokwa to Rabba town, including the construction of 4 brigades or bridges. Governor Umar Bago disclosed this in a post on X. Governor Bago explained that the project is aimed at improving connectivity between the two communities and is part of a broader infrastructure and disaster mitigation efforts following the recent flood disaster that affected parts of the state, including Mokwa. The governor noted that the road project will provide much-needed access for residents and help ease movement, particularly during emergencies. Now to legal matters. The absence of the prosecution and defense lawyers stalled the planned adoption of final written addresses in the charge filed by the EFCC against James Nolan, a director in the Process and Industrial Development Limited. The matter was subsequently adjourned until September 24 for adoption of their written addresses. Recalls that Nolan, a British national in the trial linked to the alleged $9.6 billion P&ID scandal, had on January 16 told the court that he will not be calling any witness in the ongoing trial. Nolan, who jumped bail in September 2022 and fled Nigeria, told the court through his lawyer, Michael Ajara. Nolan was said to have been arrested by the International Criminal Police Organization in Italy on the 27th of January 2024 when he visited his wife. He was yet to be extradited to Nigeria to face trial. In the meantime, the Court of Appeal in Abuja has dismissed an application filed by the management of Ahmadu Bello University seeking to present fresh evidence in the 2.5 billion naira judgment debt owed to 110 disengaged workers. The appellants are ABU Zaria Management, Minister of Education, and the Attorney General of the Federation, while the respondents are the 110 disengaged staff members of the school. Ruling on the application, Justice O.O. Oyewumi dismissed the appeal on grounds that the requirements for such prayers were not met by the applicant. The court held that there is evidence in law which in exception can allow the court to grant such order, but the instant case is not one of such. The date for the substantive suit is yet to be fixed. Still in the news, the Federal High Court in Abuja has rejected the no-case submission filed by Professor Dibu Ojerinde, the former Registrar, Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, in the alleged 5.2 billion naira fraud charge. Justice Obiora Egwatu, in a ruling, held that the elements of the offense preferred against Ojerinde had been identified by the ICPC's witnesses, requiring the defendant to enter a defense. Recall that the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission had filed an 18-count corruption charge against Ojerinde. The ICPC alleged that he committed multiple frauds while heading the National Examinations Council and Jamb. He was initially arraigned in July 2021 by the Anti-Corruption Commission before Justice Egwatu over allegations bordering on abuse of office and fraudulent diversion of funds from government coffers to the tune of 5.2 billion naira. He, however, pleaded not guilty to all the counts. Staying with legal matters, 9 Chinese nationals have been sentenced to 1 year imprisonment each for cyber terrorism and internet fraud by a Nigerian federal court sitting in Lagos. The Chinese nationals were among the syndicate of 792 alleged cryptocurrency investment and romance fraud suspects arrested on December 19, 2024 in Lagos during a sting operation tagged Eagle Flush Operation conducted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC operatives. They were arraigned before Justice D.E. Osiago of the Federal High Court sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos. Justice Osiago convicted and sentenced each of the defendants to 1 year imprisonment starting from the date of arrest on December 10, 2025, with a fine in the sum of 1 million naira each. The judge further ordered that upon completion of their prison sentence, the Controller General of Immigration should ensure that they are repatriated to their country of origin within 7 days. The mobile phones, computers, laptops, and routers seized from them at the time of arrest were ordered forfeited to the federal government of Nigeria. Well, you're still watching News Hour on Voice of the People TV. More stories after this short break. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. And now the Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide has urged President Bola Tinubu to demonstrate his commitment to democratic values by using the symbolic occasion of June 12 to reinstate Governor Siminalayi Fubara and all duly elected lawmakers in Rivers State. The call comes in the wake of Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers on the 18th of March, prompted by the prolonged political standoff between FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and Governor Fubara. IYC President Theophilus Alaye emphasized in a statement that restoring Fubara and the Assembly members would send a powerful message reaffirming Nigeria's commitment to the rule of law and democratic governance. He warned that any deviation from the electoral mandate not only betrays the will of Rivers State people, but also weakens the democratic foundations of the nation. Alaye further noted that sidelining elected representatives undermines public confidence in governance and sets a troubling precedent that Nigeria can ill afford. Meanwhile, the Rivers State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has warned suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara that only sincere reconciliation efforts can prevent his impeachment. Speaking at a news conference in Abuja, Chairman of the APC Caretaker Committee, Tony Okocha, has stated that the suspended governor has yet to initiate any meaningful steps to reconcile with the duly elected lawmakers in the state. Okocha's warning was issued amid rumors that President Tinubu may use the June 12th anniversary to reinstate Governor Fubara. Well, away from Rivers State now, Nigerians have continued to react to a statement by a former presidential candidate, Martin Onovo, who said it will be nearly impossible to defeat President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 general election unless opposition parties unite. He made this known during an interview in Lagos, emphasizing that only a strong coalition can successfully challenge the ruling All Progressives Congress. Voice of the People TV's Matthew Ogunswada sampled public opinions on this development and has more in this report.
Presidential candidate of the defunct National Conscience Party, Chief Martin Onovo, has declared that no single opposition party can unseat President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 election. In an interview with the News Agency of Nigeria, Onovo stated that only a strong coalition of opposition parties can effectively challenge the ruling All Progressives Congress at the next presidential poll, while describing the recent coalition effort led by former Vice President and People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar as a strategic step that can help deliver on his campaign promises. Voice of the People TV took to the streets to gather citizens' reactions towards these statements and the growing call for opposition unity ahead of the 2027 election.
To me, I can say one of what causes defection is self-centered, greediness. The people, like those who are crossing over, right? They're not crossing over because of but there is agreement. But they know the way they settle themselves. They know where they put it right. Right? So, I don't see it. Why are you defecting? Is there any skeleton in your cupboard? Because they've told you if you come to our party, you are forgiven.
Because, like, unity is very, very needed in the party. So once everybody become one, things will be more better.
The issue of that coalition and the defecting. The coalition issue is that if they could be able to emerge with one mind and understanding how to lead this country forward, the coalition is quite well. That is the way forward. You understand? But the issue is that a single person in which the people may can overthrow Bola Tinubu and emerge as a winner if the Electoral Commission go ahead to do what is right and put measures of the right person that should be there. One other thing, please, I want to add, concerning this road, we are always here. I would like to put it, that don't know what is happening there. Every moment there is accident is here because of the overhead bridge. So I would like government to know what I say. I will tell you people this anytime you come and meet me again. That overhead bridge, if I have any force, I would have pulled it down by myself. I will pull it down overnight. When people come, they won't see it again. Let them try to put that overhead bridge. When they drop them here, they can equally cross over. So this place have been causing a lot of accidents. Please, you people should let the government to do something over that overhead bridge. Let them put one for 7 and 8 and put one here. They are more than that. They put one here to serve the 2 bus stop. It's not possible.
As we've heard from citizens, the conversation around 2027 election is already gaining momentum. However, either for its citizens. Matthew Ogunswada, reporting for Voice of the People TV.
Matthew, thank you. In another development now, Nenadi Usman, caretaker committee chair of the Labour Party, says Peter Obi has become the voice of a generation determined to reform Nigeria's political system. Usman spoke at the launch of a book titled Obi, Abonyi Chronicles Obi's Political Journey and the Rise of the Obedient Movement. Usman said the 250-page publication goes beyond politics to tell the story of accountability against impunity, simplicity against flamboyance, principle against expediency, and prudence against financial recklessness. She described the Obedient Movement as an emblem of youth political awakening and civic courage. Elsewhere, the Ogun State Command of Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has warned the public against fake recruitment scams circulating on social media, stating that no recruitment exercise was currently ongoing. The command spokesperson, Dai Gbonaya, who spoke in a statement, said some scammers are using a senior officer's photograph and goodwill to deceive and swindle unsuspecting individuals. He clarified that any genuine recruitment exercise would be announced through official channels and media outlets. Gbonaya, however, advised the public to be cautious and vigilant to avoid falling victim to scammers. Now, this report says that the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority has acquired some low-cost air quality monitoring devices through a... Well, coming up next, foreign, business, sports, and entertainment stories after this break. Stay with us.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP This Morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
We are the station that brings you stories from the people's perspective.
We let your voice be heard. On Political Lens, we bring you deeper insights into happenings within the polity.
We create equality of representative opinion and fairness in politics, economic and diverse conversations.
Here we bring you breaking news, fresh perspectives, as well as fact-based analysis.
Watch our extraordinary shows from the People's Voice, where we get to amplify the stories and concerns of everyday Nigerians, to hashtag.
To Health Check, where we share practical wellness tips and bring you deep insights from medical professionals.
Maritime Frontiers will dissect issues on port operations and more.
Every time we talk about sport, it's everything that has to do with sport from the top to the finish. Just be with us, stay with us all of the time. We give you sporting activities just as you unfold, and that's what we do, and that's why we are called Voice of the People TV, and you already know.
We got you all covered.
Here, you have more than a voice.
Welcome back to news. On the foreign scene now, a minibus carrying school children has been swept away by heavy flooding in South Africa. A spokesperson for the Eastern Cape provincial government, Kuselwa Arranjde, said it was unclear how many children were on the bus, but 3 had so far been found alive. She added that rescue efforts had been suspended as night had fallen and would resume on Wednesday. In a separate incident, the bodies of 7 people carried away by flood water have been found in the province's OR Tambo district. South Africa has been hit by heavy snow, rains and gale-force winds that have claimed the lives of a further 5 people in a road accident and have left nearly 500,000 homes without electricity. Well, over now to the U.S., where President Donald Trump's administration has sent thousands more troops to Los Angeles on the 4th day of chaotic protests against immigration raids as the unrest spread to other U.S. cities. Some 700 U.S. Marines have been deployed to the L.A. area, and the contingent of National Guard troops mobilized to help quell the disorder has been doubled to 4,000. California Governor Gavin Newsom said the move was fulfilling the deranged fantasy of a dictatorial president. The state is suing the president for sending in troops without the governor's permission. Meanwhile, the United States government has ordered its embassies and consulates around the world to resume issuing student and exchange visitor visas for individuals intending to study or conduct research at Harvard University following a court ruling that halted a previous visa restriction directive. This was revealed in a diplomatic cable issued by the U.S. State Department. The directive came after U.S. District Judge Alison Burrow issued a temporary restraining order blocking the Trump administration's latest attempt to restrict international students from entering the country to attend Harvard University. The broader legal confrontation between Harvard University and the Trump administration over international student visa restrictions remain ongoing. Now, the UK has sanctioned 2 far-right Israeli ministers over repeated incitements of violence against Palestinian communities in the occupied West Bank. Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich will both be banned from entering the UK and will have any assets in the UK frozen as part of the measures announced by Foreign Secretary David Lammy. Lammy said Finance Minister Smotrich and National Security Minister Ben-Gvir had incited extremist violence and serious abuses of Palestinian human rights. In the meantime, Israeli Navy ships have struck targets in the port city of Hudaydah in Houthi-controlled Yemen. The Israeli military said in a statement that the strikes were carried out in response to Houthi missiles targeting Israel and were aimed at stopping the use of the port for military purposes. There were no immediate reports of casualties. The Houthis have regularly launched missiles at Israel in solidarity with the Palestinians in Gaza. On a sad note now, 10 people have been killed in a school shooting in the Austrian city of Graz in what is the deadliest gun attack in the country's recent history. Police said the 21-year-old gunman, a former student, took his own life in a school bathroom shortly after. The incident took place at Registrar'S secondary school in the northwest of the city. Interior Minister Gerhard Kahner disclosed that 6 females and 3 males were killed in the attack. Local media reported an injured female had died in hospital, bringing the number of victims killed to 10. In a similar development, a teaching assistant has died after being stabbed by a student outside a school in Nogent, northeast France. The 31-year-old teaching assistant was stabbed outside a middle school as people's bags were being checked by police. French media reported a suspect had been taken into custody, with Prime Minister François Bayrou saying the student was 14 years old. French President Emmanuel Macron said the teaching assistant was a victim of a senseless wave of violence and declared that the nation is in mourning. Politicians across parties condemned the attack and called for more action against knife crime. Well, business news now. The federal government is expected to forfeit $10 million from a World Bank credit due to audit shortcomings, delays in launching a national budget portal, and slow implementation of a revenue assurance system. The fund is part of the $103 million Fiscal Governance and Institutions Project, a public financial management initiative financed through a credit facility from the International Development Association, a lending arm of the World Bank. Details of the borrowing are contained in the World Bank's June 2025 restructuring paper addressed to the Federal Ministry of Finance. And now, global economic growth is projected to slow to 2.3% in 2025 due to mounting trade tensions and persistent policy uncertainty, according to the World Bank's latest Global Economic Prospects report. A statement from the bank's online media briefing center noted that the new forecast was nearly half a percentage point lower than the rate projected at the beginning of the year. The report indicated that the slowdown will mark the weakest non-recessionary global growth since 2008. The report projected that growth would slow in nearly 60% of developing economies in 2025, averaging 3.8% before a modest rise to 3.9% in 2026 and 2027. The report added that more than a full percentage point below the average of the 2010s, and the World Bank warned that a slowing growth would hinder efforts by developing economies to create jobs, reduce poverty, and close the income gap with advanced economies. Still business, the Securities and Exchange Commission directed all public companies and registrars to start treating unclaimed dividends older than 12 years as statute barred, especially those dating from before the enactment of the Finance Act 2020. The Commission noted in a circular on its website that the directive reaffirms the provisions of Section 60 of the Finance Act, which mandates that dividends unclaimed for over 6 years be transferred to the Unclaimed Funds Trust Fund, where they remain accessible to shareholders pending claims. The Commission directed public companies and registrars to effect immediate compliance with the directive and submit periodic reports on the same in the manner prescribed in the Commission's rules and regulations. And now the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Commission has officially commenced the payment of liquidation dividends to creditors of Premier Commercial Bank nearly 25 years after the bank's closure. Premier Commercial Bank was shut down on the 20th of December 2000 following the revocation of its operating license by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The bank's liquidation process has been ongoing, with NDIC now inviting creditors to claim their dividends as part of final settlement procedures. In a public notice, NDIC has called on creditors and other concerned stakeholders to visit their nearest NDIC office between June 2 and June 27, 2025 to verify and claim their entitlements. The NDIC assured stakeholders that the payment process aims to settle outstanding claims efficiently, ensuring that verified creditors receive their rightful liquidation dividends. Sports news now. Ahead of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile, a Flying Eagles coach Aliyu Zubairu has assured that plans are on to invite new players to strengthen its squad. Zubairu stated this in a Lauren Adequara Swan Heart talk. He acknowledged the team's struggles with goal scoring during the recent Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. The coach said that the new additions will bring more balance and depth to the team. In spite of the team narrowly missing the AFCON title, Zubairu praised the team's qualification for the World Cup as a significant achievement. He promised to surpass the milestone achieved by Samson Siasia, who won a silver medal in the Flying Eagles at the Flying Eagles, at the Under-20 World Cup final in 2005 in the Netherlands. Well, Greenland's application for membership of CONCACAF has been unanimously rejected. The world's largest island, which has never played competitive international football, has a population of 57,000 and is a sovereign territory of Denmark, but is geographically part of North America. It is unable to join UEFA because the European governing body only admits countries recognized by the United Nations, but there is no such requirement for CONCACAF, which governs North and Central America and the Caribbean. Greenland plays non-FIFA sanctioned friendlies, but hopes of competitive international football for the first time were dashed at a meeting in Miami before the Gold Cup. According to the country's tourism website, Greenland has 76 football clubs and 5,500 registered players, around 10% of the population. Well, from sports to entertainment, Nigerian singer Ira Star has won her first ever BET award. She won the highly coveted Best International Act at the 2025 BET Awards at the Peacock Arena in Los Angeles, US. Star's triumph comes after missing out on previous editions. She defeated other big names like Rema and Tyler to clinch the award. However, Ira Star lost her other two nominations, Best New Artist to Leon Thomas and Best Female R&B and Pop Artist to SZA. American rapper Kendrick Lamar is the biggest winner of the event, winning 5 out of his 10 nominations. Still entertainment, Grammy-winning Nigerian superstar Burna Boy has added another SNAP certification to his collection. The hitmaker secured another gold certification courtesy of his hit single, It's Plenty, which adds to his long list of certifications in France. His latest certification comes just weeks after We Pray. His collaboration with Coldplay received a Snap Diamond certification. It also extends his record as the most certified Nigerian artist in France with 15 certifications, which is a testament to the song released as one of the singles of his 7th album, I Told Them, has enjoyed commercial success, especially in France, where his music, where he recently made history by selling out the 80K capacity Stade de France. 80K capacity Stade de France. The hitmaker also made history. The hitmaker also made history in 2024 by becoming the first artist to cover Billboard France's magazine in what further captures his popularity. In the European country. Meanwhile, Grammy-winning Nigerian music sensation Thames has expressed excitement ahead of her performance at the inaugural FIFA Club World Cup final halftime show. The 2025 FIFA Club World Cup is scheduled to hold between June 14 and July 13 in the United States, with the highly anticipated halftime show billed for July 13 at the MetLife Stadium. The producers of the show announced in a statement that Thames will headline the show alongside Colombian hitmaker J Balvin and American pop star Doja. In reaction to the historic planned performance, Thames, in a social media post, expressed excitement about the significance of the show. Well, it's a wrap for us on news, but before we go, a quick look at the headlines. Senate to institutionalize June 12 presidential address. And Tinubu returns to Abuja after Eid break. Zulum donates 300 million naira to Mokwa flood victims. And absence of prosecution and defense lawyers stole adoption of written addresses. Jamb Registrar'S addresses. Jamb Registrar'S no case submission has been rejected by the court. Also, IYC urges Tinubu to end river